When the body goes silent, the soul speaks, the truth. Being a world saturated with noise, validation, and endless external stimulation, especially regarding sexuality and desire, many women are beginning to ask deeper questions. What happens when the body chooses silence over stimulation? What truth lies in abstinence? Carl Jung's depth psychology provides a profound lens through which to understand this inner transformation. Far from being an act of repression or loss, abstinence, especially when chosen or embraced, can become a sacred portal to profound self-discovery and spiritual awakening. The illusion of emptiness. We live in a culture that equates bodily silence with emotional failure, lack of connection, or even personal inadequacy. Women are especially targeted by this belief, taught to equate their worth with desirability. Yet what if this silence, this absence of external physical connection, is not a sign of emptiness, but of a profound inner awakening? Carl Jung suggested that repressed energy does not disappear. It transforms and reemerges in symbolic form. When the body stops chasing immediate pleasures, the soul, long silenced, finds space to speak. The modern woman's decision to pause, to abstain, whether consciously or unconsciously, marks the beginning of an inner revolution, the awakening within. Many women who experience extended periods of abstinence report spiritual transformations. They begin to have more vivid dreams, heightened intuition, and an unexplainable sensitivity to the unseen. These experiences are not coincidental. They reflect a natural redirection of energy inward, a shift from external validation to internal exploration. This transformation is not merely about celibacy, it's about transmutation. The sexual energy, instead of being dissipated outwardly, becomes a force of creation and introspection. In Jungian terms, it is the psyche initiating the individuation process, a journey towards psychological wholeness. The sacred withdrawal. Society, built on a model of constant sexual validation, fears the woman who withdraws. She becomes unpredictable, mysterious, and powerful. Why? Because she no longer plays by the rules designed to keep her dependent on external love and approval. She begins to see beyond the shallow games, the repetitive emotional cycles, and the relationships that often entrap rather than liberate. This woman no longer seeks to be chosen. She begins to choose. Her love is not a bargain for affection, but an overflowing of self-recognition. She embodies a kind of silence that is not void but a temple, a sacred space where the soul is finally heard, from loneliness to sacred solitude. There is a common misconception that a woman who chooses abstinence is dead inside, lonely, or broken. In truth, she may be more alive than ever before. What appears to others as emptiness is often a profound state of inner presence. She communes with aspects of herself she had never known, parts neither she nor the world ever acknowledged. This stage gives birth to the archetype of the wild woman. She doesn't crave an audience. She doesn't need affirmation. She taps into ancestral wisdom, raw instinct, and feminine energy that had been buried beneath centuries of conditioning. This is the sacred feminine returning, not the one shaped to please others, but the one rooted in mystery and truth, the shadow and the shift. Carl Jung believed that facing the shadow, those aspects of ourselves we suppress or deny, is essential for growth. For a woman on this path, the silence often leads her straight to this confrontation. She begins to question everything. Her past relationships, societal expectations, and the ways she's conformed to roles that never truly fit her. The woman who once lived to be desired now questions why desire ever defined her identity. She no longer craves attention but seeks alignment. She stops begging for love and instead demands truth from herself. This shift is not without pain. There is grief, disorientation, and doubt. Friends and family may not understand. They may urge her to get back out there, mistaking her sacred withdrawal for isolation, but she is not isolating. She is immersing. She is going deep beyond the reach of surface-level connection, the test of endurance. At this stage, temptations arise. Old patterns re-emerge. The world offers easy escapes, a fling, a casual night, a text from the past. Everything seems to test her resolve. And the hardest part is that no one around her truly understands. It feels lonely, yes, but it is also the beginning of liberation. Jung described this as the ego's panic, realizing it is losing control. The soul, long dormant, begins to take the lead. For many, this transition feels unbearable. It's easier to go back, to lukewarm love, to fleeting pleasure, to the illusion of connection. But the woman who stays, who sits with the discomfort, the tears, the silence, is being reshaped by something larger than herself. The alchemy of awareness. Cycles are not broken by effort alone. They are broken by awareness. The inner tension, the sense of being stuck, is not a failure. It is the cocoon tightening before the emergence of the butterfly. Deep within, she knows something is shifting. Even if she cannot articulate it, even if fear whispers she is wasting time, she holds on. There is a voice inside her, not loud, but persistent. A presence that does not show itself yet never leaves. This is the archetypal feminine, the bridge between consciousness and mystery, as Jung saw it. It is with this presence that the woman begins a new kind of dialogue, one that requires no words, only presence, rewriting the narrative. Gradually, her perspective changes. Memories begin to surface, not as wounds, but as messages. Past relationships, emotional cycles, and heartbreaks reveal themselves in new light. They were never just failures. They were signs, lessons, clues guiding her towards something more authentic. She begins to realize that she doesn't need external applause. Her value doesn't come from how much others desire her, but from how deeply she can dwell in her own presence. In this space, she births a new force, a mystical, untouchable power that scares the world because it can't be controlled. She no longer needs to be chosen. She has chosen herself, entering a new consciousness. At this point, she reaches a new consciousness, one that is calm, unhurried, and rooted. She doesn't need to prove her worth. Her body isn't on pause, it is in ritual. A ritual the modern world has forgotten, but her soul has always remembered. This ritual births questions deeper than ever before. Why did I need to feel desire to feel alive? Why did the absence of another feel so unbearable? What parts of me still depend on the gaze of others? These questions are not meant to destroy her, but to free her. They dismantle the illusions she once lived by. They allow her to stand fully in her own light, the dangerous wholeness. Now she is whole. And in a fragmented world, wholeness is dangerous. She no longer plays the game. She doesn't wait for attention or affection. She gives from fullness, not emptiness. She doesn't settle for ordinary love because she has heard the voice of her soul, and once heard, it cannot be forgotten. Her silence is not a retreat. It is a stance. Her abstinence is not punishment. It is power. She doesn't disappear. She expands. And when she finally emerges from this sacred cocoon, she does so not as a woman waiting to be loved, but as love itself. My insights into the psyche help illuminate a powerful truth. Abstinence, when embraced not as repression, but as transformation, becomes a sacred journey, The modern woman who chooses this path is not walking away from life. She is walking toward herself. In the silence of her body, the voice of her soul echoes, and it speaks of strength, truth, and a love deeper than any she has ever known.